version. I've read redacted documents for years and years and years practicing law, but I'm telling you, I don't think that those few black marks that I saw had all this information that the senator has been talking about.
No, what is the Republicans? I feel like their superpower is they don't care how ridiculous they look. This is obviously a recycled Rudy Giuliani bull thing from however many years ago that Trump's DOJ investigated and said there was no there. And they just, in such an obvious ham-handed attempt to distract from Trump's indictments, right?
Absolutely, and that's what they're there for. Whoever lies the loudest wins in their minds, right? It's a distraction, the alternative facts things. They don't need substance because they know that their demographic, and their constituency isn't going to cling to the facts and say, no, that's not true, Jim Jordan. They just want to see Jim Jordan screaming at a liberal,
Yeah.
And that's the payoff. It's like a cartoon. It's like a carnival act,
Yeah.
That's why. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say it led to this weekend. You just have to listen. Here we go.
Crooked Joe Biden pressed deranged Jack Smith to do this fake indictment on me in order to take the pressure off the fact that they caught Joe Biden stealing $5 million. And that's just the beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have fun, everyone. I mean, I was saying, can you imagine if everyone sued Trump for defaming them? I mean, it just clearly they have no evidence of that, but there he is, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of that, he was sued 4,000 times before he became POTUS, right? Before he became president, he was involved in 4,000 lawsuits. That alone should have disqualified him from running, right? But it was unexamined. Like you said earlier, the media was into the chaos. They were into the distraction. And that's the same thing that the Republicans are using. Trump trained them in a way. They're like seals that are bouncing a ball on their nose, right? He'll give them those marching orders like that insanity that he just spewed, that you just played, and they'll repeat that, right? The next level, the congressmen, senators, and then the dudes at the job site will repeat it.
And they have to have these Republicans on, to, I guess, to keep access. And meanwhile, they have to admit they have the informant, the whistleblowers, the audio, it's all missing.
Yeah.
They have nothing, right?
And they keep putting them on, right? Yeah. James Comer's on Fox News all the time with no evidence, but they still do the segments because it works. It permeates their base and gives them an alternative talking point, right?
Right. Representative Allred, hopefully future senator.
This is a smear first and confirm later, right? Mm-hmm. And we've seen this from this Congress where really, when they're talking about the weaponization of government, this is the weaponization of government. You take some allegation that may or may not even have any existence, and then you just put it out there, and then later you can retract it, but nobody.
They know they're doing it like.
Yeah, I mean, he went on to say this.
They know. Yeah, these guys. No one believes that Joe Biden is on the take. Okay, Joe never had any money until he wrote a book about his son dying. Right. So I think they know that. But these are also deeply cynical people.
Yeah. One last one, Representative Allred.
I still am surprised, even after all these years. I still hope that folks who say that they're serious about national security, who I think in other areas of their political careers have been serious about national security, will actually stick to that. This is a case about national security. We had some of our nation's most closely guarded secrets that anyone could have just walked in and taken a picture of and walked away.
That's what Democrats should be. I know you obviously do a lot of messaging on Twitter. That's what Democrats, I think, should be pounding. That this is about now. You have got to blow up once and forever and for all this Republican claim to be the party of national security or law and order, right?
Nailed it. 100%, Stephanie. That's exactly what they should be doing. And we're not. We're anemic on that front as Democrats, right? Because, that speaks to the culture of conservatism, right? Conservatism, however you say the word. Right? They're guys that, they're vets. I'm a vet. I got a flag on my pickup truck. My dad's a cop. Blue Lives Matter. It's a cultural thing in suburban and ex-urban white America. And if you go at them that way, say, hey, your dad served in Vietnam, right? Your grandfather served in World War II to protect the kinds of documents and the work that it represents, because people gave their lives to get that information. Both of my grandfathers were in foreign service. One was at the NSA, one was even higher up than that. There's a lot of sacrifice that families make. My grandfather lived in Saudi Arabia and Cyprus, in Asia. There's all kinds, army brats that have to move all over the place. There's all kinds of cultural sacrifices that the good and hardworking people of America have made that are being exploited now by the Republicans. They're spitting in their faces, and the Democrats should go after that constantly.
So what is this? Trump said that a new poll showing him losing to Biden by 4 really means that he's up by 6 because
what? Huh?
Just because Trump. Does it terrify you though? Polls could still be this close. What is your take on what's going to happen? I mean, clearly, as Claire McCaskill said, he's running for a pardon, or he's running to stay out of prison. How do you see all of this playing out? Because I think, we keep saying it looks like that would be the disaster for Republicans if it were Trump, but it's so terrifying. To think that depending on this and Bobby Kennedy, third party nonsense, this, that, whatever, how many factors could come in to make this nightmare happen again?
Absolutely. And you're not even taking into consideration, or we're not, all the Republican secretaries of state that have been installed since 2020 that will throw out the results of, say, a Harris County, or a Democrat leading county. So a lot of that chaos we saw in the last election is going to come back on steroids, no matter how it breaks. So there's that kind of malfeasance that terrifies me and keeps me up at night. And then there's everything you said. I see a lot of the signs like 2016. I see Trump almost in a strong position because, like we said at the top of the hour, he's getting this free press. His name is constantly on all the talk shows on MSNBC. They're getting their talking points out there. And a lot of the people that vote for him, as we know, are not informed. They're not well informed. And they've had 4 years to hear, let's go Brandon and all these kind of chants. And I don't trust that any of them won't walk into that booth and pull the lever for Trump again in 2024. And like you said, Robert Kennedy is clearly a spoiler who's been being manipulated by nefarious, sort of global oligarchs, or however you want to define what Elon Musk is or what a guy like Joe Rogan is. They're chaos agents, right? We just spent a whole weekend where they were attacking a doctor who saved lives over a vaccine at our nation's darkest in modern history. And these idiots who have billions of dollars are attacking the guy.
Yeah. Well, people are calling out No Labels as a right-wing, BS operation that is their goal is to get Trump reinstalled. But I think you're right. I was just talking to my girlfriend this weekend about that. You have to keep remembering that the 2016 came down to 75,000 votes in 3 states, and the people that voted for Jill Stein were way more than that. Added up to way more than that, and those are the 3 states that Paul Manafort shared, polling information with the Russians. So we know how this could happen again, right? I mean, and you have a party that just said it's okay if we have a convicted felon as our nominee.
And you also have a Supreme Court that's stacked. Take it back to 2000 and game that scenario out, right? That votes are challenged in certain states and it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court. Who are they going to choose? Who are those 5 conservative justices, 3 of which were appointed by Trump, care of the Federalist Society? Who are they going to pick? So there's a lot of ways where this could go very wrong. And that's why it's so important that the Democrats get the truth out now. Yeah. This is not a time for resting on your laurels and, I'm happy for all the jobs creation and inflation reduction, but you got to go at Trump. You got to go at him hard. You can't pretend like he doesn't exist.
Yeah. And speaking of the Twitter fights this weekend, you said when all is said and done, Elon Musk will go down as one of the biggest POS grifters to ever befoul this dying planet. He's only a thing because of apartheid. Without mediocre white supremacists, he would be nowhere in life and have no fans or fortune. Jellyfish boy sucks. You also said Joe Rogan is about as funny as a genital wart, though not as attractive. Thank you for... But it really is. It's just it's the misinformation that we're also going to be fighting in 2024, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is much more dangerous than I think people see because, The whole Trump thing, in my opinion, the saddest thing about this era, this last 7 years, is that we've essentially lost 7 years of human progress as a nation. I was over in Europe for a couple of weeks. They're ahead of us in the environmental considerations, in sort of trying to deal with immigration, all these things that we're not even addressing. I mean, obviously, Biden's trying to do some environmental stuff, but like everything we attempt that's progressive gets hamstrung by these chaos agents in Congress, by a Republican president. And we can't afford to lose 7 years of progress. We're at a crucial time in the existence of this planet where we need all hands on deck. And instead we're dividing ourselves and getting lost in rancor, and people are profiting off it. That's what scares me the most on both sides. There's people on the left that are making a ton of money too. Send me money if you're angry. No.
Right. But I mean, we've been talking all morning about Pennsylvania, where, Joe Biden and a Democratic governor are getting the I-95 bridge. They're getting it rebuilt in 2 weeks. Yep. We can do stuff. We've been playing Gavin Newsom sound bites, just bitch slapping Sean Hannity in the next election cycle. That's the stuff we should be talking about. Democratic policies work. We have the fourth largest economy in the world, almost, in California. He said, what are you arguing, Sean, for Mississippi's fiscal policies? I mean, there's state after red state, right? Are all the taker states, all the blue states are paying for all of them. I mean, it's just, you can go on and on. But I think that's the stuff we have to keep pounding. Democratic policies are working. Red states are at the bottom percentile of almost every standard, right?
So well said. Exactly what we need to do. After World War II, or during World War II, rather, this nation pitched in. 20-year-old women left their homes in the Midwest and went and worked in shipyards on the coast, welding underwater to build ship. People sacrificed. They didn't use aluminum. They worked in overnight shifts. We can pitch in and get things done. And we need to make that pitch to the American people. Like, we need all hands on deck. We need the conservative guys trying to figure out how to use less fuel and convert to electric energy or whatever it is. Let's show the world what Americans are made of again.
Yeah, absolutely. Hooray. I give you a Rosie the Riveter arm. Hello, Anita in San Antonio. You're on with Noel. Hello, Anita.
Good morning. I just have to say, I don't think some people were willing to take a chance with Trump in 2016. I don't think they're going to be willing to do that now. And he's going to be under multiple indictments. I just don't see it being the same as 2016. But I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow, John Eastman, disbarment trial is going to be televised.
Oh, hooray.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting what comes out in that.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And I hope that...
in the whole coup plot.
Yeah, I agree. I hope Trump's trial is televised. I don't know what you think, but I mean, because he lies and lies and lies, and he will lie about everything that happens, right? And I think it may go a long way toward combating misinformation. What do you think?
Absolutely. And you'll see him under pressure. Like I said earlier, he's a different guy when the screws are tightening. He's a scowling, scared, angry man. And that's what they need to see, who he really is. And I agree with your caller. I didn't mean to say it's exactly like 2016. I just meant the machinations of it are similar. Mm-hmm. And I didn't finish the point. The scariest thing is if Trump can't run and a DeSantis or somebody becomes the nominee by default, then I believe we have another set of problems on our hands,
Yeah, absolutely. 48 minutes after the hour. This portion of the show brought to you by Dr. Bo. Oh, like that blue polo shirt was an accident with those piercing blue eyes. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Steph.
I know you're feeling particularly jolly on arraignment week, yet another arraignment week. Glenn, give me just because this you're not your normal day, but I'm glad we got to talk to you sooner rather than later after the arraignment. I have to say,